Hey guys, I wanted to do a video here showing some of the mistakes and the reasons why a lot of people don't make money on Teepublic. And Teepublic, there's a lot of money left on the table because it's actually relatively simple to make money on Teepublic. In fact, the very first month that I was on Teepublic, I made over $1,000. And I actually documented that on my YouTube channel here. And I documented many months after how much I made. But the point here is that a lot of people are making these common errors that are just emerging all the time. So if you're watching this, maybe I can bring up some points here and use this design as a talking point so that you can either recognize these errors and maybe not do them, or maybe if you are doing them, try to solve some of the areas that you've been walking into. Now, the first thing is you have to understand that if you're not ranking already on the Teepublic marketplace, you're fighting an uphill battle. So that's the first thing you want to discover, okay? Before we even begin the video and kind of go into things, one thing that I realized very, very early on with Teepublic, and I was actually relatively lucky in my first month, is that I didn't have to do too much to rank on the marketplace. Now, granted, it's a different platform now since then. It's been a long time, but at the same time, that's something you want to do. If that's not your situation, you might not want to watch this video. But let's just say you're ranking on the marketplace. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, when you just simply search for something, let's just say we search for this. Let's go ahead and search for derp giraffe, okay? Your designs want to show up here, okay, for that keyword. Okay, so that's an example. Now let's go ahead into the concept of the design, all right? So first, we have the keyword derp giraffe t-shirt. All right. One of the things that we talked about in the course, for those who don't know, the Teepublic course, the Teepublic tagging course and everything like that. One of the things that I showed in the course is the concept of SEO and titling and how important the title is. When you create a title, the first thing you want to understand is how many people out there in the world search for derp giraffe. Okay. Now, the reason why this is important is because based on your searches, you can actually score some extra points. Based on other people's searches, you can score some extra points. So depending on what you title your product, right, you can get more traffic and you can get more sales. In a situation like this, I don't know if I would call this design derp giraffe, but to be 100% honest between me and you, this would never be my design anyway. So I would never sell this design regardless. But let's just say if it was, which once again, it would never happen. I would not even sell, period, if this was my design. But if it was, this wouldn't be my title. I would try to find a title that people are actively searching for, okay, that I could potentially rank for, which is why, by the way, I always push you guys to create your own stores, because the same work that you're doing for your for Teepublic by finding the title, finding the right keywords, you could be doing it for your own website and profiting. But that's another conversation for a different day. All right, so let's just go ahead and continue. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the tags. And let's just imagine, for the sake of this video, that this is a beautiful design that many people are willing to purchase. Let's just imagine that. If we go ahead and scroll down, we have a bunch of tags here. And some of these tags are clickable, and they're the color blue. And some of them are gray, and they're not clickable. And there's a reason behind that. And I explained this once again, not to, shameless plug, but the course. I've talked about this in the course. So if you want to become an expert on Teepublic, go ahead and check out the Teepublic course. But there's two concepts here with tagging. Is that Teepublic is going to rank you for tags, or when I say rank, by the way, you're going to be essentially indexed. That's a better word. You're going to be indexed for tags based on two things. The first thing is, does your design relate based on the relevancy of the keywords? And the second thing is, does the tag even exist? And I'll explain what I mean. So the keyword derping here, this keyword derping is not used frequently on Teepublic. Therefore, it's not even a clickable tag, okay? But assuming if it was, could this design potentially be ranked? Well, it depends. Because it's not frequently used, there's not a high connection for this keyword. Now, if I search for this keyword, derping, right, and I search for it here, this design will show up, okay? It shows up right here. And the reason why it shows up is because it has used it in the tags. Now you might say, well, since I used it in the tags, does that mean I'm automatically going to rank? And the answer is no. Because once again, this is a keyword, or this is a tag that is not being frequently tagged. So it's a completely different scenario. But most times, and for everybody watching this, because the word derping is not a good example, because once again, there's not many designs, but for most people watching this, what's going to happen is they're going to have these gray keywords from time to time that are active keywords that a lot of other people have used, okay? So imagine, let's just say, for example, imagine the keyword giraffe was gray here. In a circumstance like that, there are so many different giraffe designs on Teepublic. It's being frequently used. The reason why it didn't rank in that position is due to relevancy, okay? So those are the two reasons of why you might potentially not rank for a keyword. Now, how did I sit here and say not rank for a keyword, but how can I sit here and say that when I didn't check the ranking? Well, here's the thing. When a keyword is grayed out, aka it's not clickable for that design, then that means by default, if the keyword is prevalent, that means you will not rank for that keyword. So, for example, here's the keyword giraffe life, okay? If I search for giraffe life, this design, assuming that the keyword giraffe life is frequently used in tags, this design will not show up. Okay, I want to keep that. I need you guys to understand that for a very specific point, is that if the tag is frequently used, it will not show up. Okay, if it's grayed out. Now, how is this important? How is this relevant? Well, you have to ask yourself logically. Okay, if I use the keywords that exist here as a consumer and I search for these things, is it logical that I'm actually going to get a sale? Let's go ahead and look at one of these examples. The keyword African here. Well, we can look at this and we can say, could this pass as an African giraffe? I would say it could. But at the same time, right, the keyword African could mean so many different things. Maybe we're talking about African people. Maybe we're talking about Africa. Maybe we're talking about the African landscape. Maybe we're talking about so many different things, right? So if we click on African, how can we compare this current derp design, right, to everything here? Well, I see here these tribal African style faces, right? And when I click on the word African, I can assume that some of these designs have made some kind of money. In fact, I can do the same exact thing, which, by the way, it will provide the same results, but let's go ahead and create a general search here of the keyword African, and it's the exact same thing, so it's not like it's changed. Well, based on sales and previous history, the keyword African on Teepublic shows us that these are the designs that are prevalent. Not only are prevalent, but they're at the top of ranking. Does it make sense then for me to use the keyword African for this derp giraffe design? It doesn't make sense. Now you might say to me, well, how can you tag better then in this case? Well, the first thing you can do is you can figure out a keyword that represents the design in its majority. Okay, it's very, very hard to have one keyword that represents the whole entire design all the time, but majority, and a good example of this is the keyword giraffe in this example, right? Because that's what this design is about. It's about giraffe. Now, it might be an African giraffe, sure. There might be an apple in the background, sure. They might be, the design might be based in Africa, sure. That's perfectly fine. And all those other keywords might apply, but those are not the main concepts of the keyword. What's the main concept here? The main concept is the keyword giraffe, and indeed, the designer here created this, understood that. In fact, you could see here the keyword is always placed, the primary keyword is always placed under the title of the design immediately after the title of the design. So you can see here, it says giraffe t-shirt designed by so-and-so. So it's very clear that the designer here knew what they were doing. They knew that this design was about the giraffe. But then everything falls apart here when you look at the tags, right? And so how can you tag better? This is a solution. So if you're always struggling, or if you find yourself struggling to find new keywords, you can use the Teepublic Tag Optimizer tool. Now, what is the Teepublic Tag Optimizer tool? You go over here to botsandapps.gumroad.com. The website will look something like this, and it's the very first tool here, okay? And this Teepublic tool can find you related keywords based on that main keyword that you set, or any other keyword related to the keywords that you want to have. So, for example, if I was looking for, let's say, giraffe in this case, I would go ahead and search giraffe, turn the tool on, use it, etc. I'm not going to go ahead and use it now because I've made many videos in the past doing this, and I'll leave links in the description to videos of me using the tool live if you do want to see it. And I can tell you that it's a very, very powerful tool because it takes away the thought process, and it literally gives you keywords that are directly related to the specific keyword that you're using, right, in the algorithm within Teepublic's bounds. It doesn't just give you random related keywords. It gives you keywords specifically within the Teepublic platform, which is very important to understand. Because if you just give it random keywords that are related, well, that doesn't mean it's related in Teepublic's eyes. And remember a very important aspect about Teepublic is that Teepublic's algorithm, just like Redbubble, who's owned by Redbubble, works off of keyword relevancy. And what keyword relevancy is that Teepublic, just like any other search engine, has acquired data. In fact, copious amounts of data. And with this data, what they can do is they can perform analyses. And they can see that the analysis that there is a correlation between certain keywords. So for the keyword giraffe, let's just say, there's a correlation to the keyword giraffe that other keywords exist, right? So the keyword giraffe and the keyword animal might have a high correlation. So what happens is that Teepublic, just like any other algorithm out there in the world that's based off of data, will sit here and say, okay, the keyword giraffe is highly associated with the keyword animal. If we see the keyword animal in this design, right, along with the keyword giraffe, then we have a greater understanding of what other tags should be included. And the more of those other tags that are precisely included correctly, then the less of these gray tags will exist. And if the less of these gray tags will exist, then the design will therefore rank for more tags, or be indexed rather, will be indexed for more tags. And if the design is indexed for more tags, well then it's an obvious solution. The design gets more traffic, and the more traffic gets more sales. And so everybody here listening to this wants more sales. They want more sales today. An easy way to do this is just go back to your old designs, figure out what tags are going wrong or what designs are done incorrectly, and try to go fix them. Now, I want to give you a disclaimer here. I wouldn't do it if your design looks like this. If your design looks like this, you need to take a design course or something. You need to get better at designing because this should not be happening. I hate to be mean when I say that, but at the end of the day, just because, this looks like a personal painting. Just because you paint something personally and you think you're a great artist and you enjoy your time doesn't mean anybody's going to buy it. One of the realities about drawing and print on demand and art in general is that just because you are creating art does not mean anybody's going to buy it. And I know that's harsh. And I know a lot of people can't accept that. But this is the sad reality, is that artists feel, at least some artists, not all, and I can tell you I'm not an artist. So trust me, I'm not an artist. But many artists feel that just because they create the art, even though it looks terrible, that it should be bought and it should be appreciated. And no, the answer is no. Okay, that's never going to happen. Unless you're some sort of famous artist where there's value on your art, even if it's ugly, that's a different circumstance. But let's face it, people don't go to Teepublic and Redbubble for specialty art that costs millions of dollars. They go for a good-looking product that they can enjoy and they want to use. So if you're watching this and you're listening, use all the advice we gave you in this video to go ahead and move your business forward. And I promise you, with Teepublic, you're going to see the results pretty quickly. Like I said, Teepublic is not one of those platforms that's really too complicated from a mental standpoint. It's relatively simple. But if you do need help, I'll leave the link in the description to the Teepublic course, of course. And I'll leave all the other links, as mentioned, down below. The Teepublic Tag Optimizer, and I'll put videos down below if you want to see them of me using this tool and explaining how to use it. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Bye.